Good morning. This morning, I'm going to share with you how to create your infographic. All right. So I'm starting here on Google Classroom. I have a place for you to submit your graphic organizer or your notes that you all did last week. For your infographic. I'm sorry, my voice is a little shaky because I'm not really feeling well, but it's okay. So I would like for you to submit your graphic organizer here or whatever notes that you have with your graphs. This is very important for you to do because during our Zoom lessons this week, we're going to be doing peer review. So our Zoom lessons this week are mandatory because it is a time for us to, do a peer review. All right, so just submit it on Google Classroom. Make sure that's done before the class so that you have something to share. We're going to be sharing our screens as well, but you'll be in breakout groups, so you're not going to share with the entire class, but you will be in small groups to give feedback. Okay, so that was what you did last week. You did some research on human activities that lead to climate change. All right, so I'm going to go to the infographic instructions here. And you should have a claim statement by now. So is current climate change a result of human activities? Yes or no. So it's either yes, climate change is a result of human activities, and express which human activities contribute to climate change, or no, climate change is not a result of human activities, and you would want to refute that statement by saying what climate change is a result of instead. So if you believe that climate change is a result of animals or just the natural progression of the earth, then you would want to make that as your claim statement. After you have your claim statement, you should have the evidence to support your claim, and that's all the evidence that you gathered last week in the graphic organizer. All right, so record clearly reasoned captions to identify what should be observed or noticed. So I'm going to go to the graphic organizer. Let's see, just to show you where that information would be. Okay, come on. All right, so where it says here, explain the evidence, how do you know, and write a summary of the information in your graphs and its relationship to climate change. You're using the graph that you put in your graphic organizer. You're using that to explain your claim statement. So you're using your graph as evidence to support your claim, and your clearly reasoned captions should be, it doesn't need to be like a long paragraph, it just should explain what we're noticing in your in the graph that you use. All right, so this graph shows this is an example, this graph shows an upward trend in CO2 levels. This means that, make it brief, make it concise and clear. All right, so write a clear summary that forms conclusions about the claim based on your evidence. You can use the following sentence starters to help you with your summary. So based on the above data, as can be seen by the data above, etc. Oh, excuse me. All right. So you've already done a summary. If you did your graphic organizer, you already have a summary. You have something to support your claim with already. So you should already have a summary. All right, and then select a quote that captures the overall message that you are trying to communicate in the infographic. So if you If you find a quote online or something that really captures your claim about whether or not humans contribute to climate change, then you could use that quote. Maybe, never mind. If you need help with finding quotes, I could be of assistance, but these are just quotes that are related to climate change. All right, and arrange your evidence, captions, summary, and quotations for maximum effect to convince your audience. So what this means is that you want your infographic to be aesthetically pleasing. That means in a way that makes sense. You don't want it to look super confusing. I'm going to show you how to use Canva in order to organize your data. All right. But before we do that, I want to go over the criteria. So 3 different types of graphs at least. So I know that you all already have worked on graphs with your math teachers. So you know what a line graph, bar graph, circle, pie graph, histogram, etc. You know what these different types of graphs are. Now what I want to show you are the 3 different types of information: historical versus present. So that means the past versus present, and I have an example of what that might look like. Give me a moment here. Okay, here we go. So a historical graph, it is, this is a comparison. Whoops, here we go. This one. Let's bring it over here. All right, a historical graph shows how something changes over time. So for instance, if you're talking about carbon dioxide in the air, you might want to start from like the Industrial Revolution and how carbon dioxide has increased over time. So that historical data, this is about the population of the United States, but as you can tell, it's from one period, so 1790 to 2008. It's showing a difference in population over time. So that's historical data. Next, let's see. Let's go back here. Trends, so patterns that help us predict the future. So for this one, I actually put a COVID-19 trend map. So here, okay, there we go. This is just showing COVID-19 deaths per million people around the world from April 22nd. So you could use this sort of data to maybe make some predictions about what might be happening in the future. This is what a trend, excuse me. This is what a trend graph shows. It shows what the trends are in different locations, and you use this information to make a prediction. All right. So like for this one, you can tell that some places have a lot more deaths, so that could maybe give you some insight into what might be happening in the future in terms of deaths for COVID-19. But of course, you all are following trends for climate change. This is just an example. Last one, you can do another type of graph. So I did a comparison graph, and I used, let's see, okay, I'm going to have to go into my Finder. I used a comparison graph to compare calories from different salads from different fast food restaurants. This is just comparing different data to each other. So this is a bar graph, that's a comparison graph, but you're not using calories from from fast food restaurants. You may want to compare CO2 emissions to pollution, to water pollution. There are lots of different things that you can compare in order to support your claim of whether or not climate change is a result of human activities. So you may want to just compare human activities that may or may not lead to climate change in this graph. All right, lastly, I want to show you Canva. So canva.com is where you'll be creating your infographic. What you can do, you can just go to create a design. So create a design, infographic, and then they have lots of different templates that you can use to create your infographic. All right, they're quite nice. You want to choose the one that is most appealing to you, but also user-friendly. That means one that you'll be able to actually add the data that you have in a way that looks appealing, in a way that conveys the message that you're trying to convey. In addition to your graphs, please add some sort of visuals, so some pictures, or as you can see, so everything in an infographic isn't just graphs. You also want to have, some animation, something creative going on that further illustrates your point. So don't just be random and arbitrarily put something on your infographic. Please make sure that it has a purpose, but you want it to catch the reader's attention, make the reader want to say, let me check this infographic out. As you may see as I'm scrolling through, you don't have too many words on an infographic. You don't want to take away from the actual graphs with too many words. You want to be clear and concise in what you're writing. All right, so, excuse me. So with that, you have the captions. So you put your captions on there that explain how each visual is a piece of evidence that supports your claim, similar to what you would do in an essay. Each paragraph gives evidence to support your thesis statement, but in this case, it's a caption that relates to your claim statement. And then somewhere, maybe on the bottom or so, you should have just a summary of all of your information. So summarize your entire infographic and the overall reasoning to support the claim based on the evidence that you found. And then lastly, one powerful quotation with the speaker's full name that captures the significance of the situation. I'm going to have a place on Google Classroom where you can submit, where you can submit your infographic drafts. It's due next Wednesday, May 6th, I believe, yes. Yeah, next Wednesday, May 6th. So the sooner you put your draft up, the sooner you'll be able to get feedback. And also, we'll try and work it out so that you have peer feedback as well, not just feedback from me. In the same way that you're going to get feedback on your graphic organizers, we're going to also have you all work together to give each other feedback on your infographics. So I'm going to make it so that your first draft of your infographic is turned in by Thursday, so that, or let's say by Monday at the latest, because next Monday and Tuesday, I would like for us to do some workshop with peer editing together. So you should have like your draft with everything complete by then. By Thursday is best, but definitely by Monday, so that you have time to workshop it with your peers before the final product is due on Wednesday. All right. Please send me an email if you have any questions about this assignment, if you need any more clarification as well. All right. Thanks.